Welcome to the fourth installment of Marana Town Talk, the official podcast of the town of Marana.
This week's episode will see us focus on a number of topics. First, we chat with Marana Police Department's Chriswell Scott to learn more about the Lock It or Lose It program and how to keep your possessions safe.
This month, the town of Marana said goodbye to Town Clerk Jocelyn Bronson, who retired last Friday on September 7th. We sat down with her before she retired, and she walked us through how the town has changed over the years, what a town clerk does, and about the importance of being involved in the community.
Did you know that Marana has been the location for numerous movies and television productions? The Marana Film Office was designed to ensure more productions come to the town and even made a promotional video to show off the local filmmaking talent.
Thank you for joining us today. August is a time for new beginnings, whether it's for the first day of school or for opening a brand new splash pad at Crossroads of Silver Bell District Park. Brad, what can you tell us about this brand new amenity?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. The splash pad opened on August 30th. It's located at Crossroads at Silver Bell District Park, kind of smack dab in the area where you have the basketball courts and you have the playgrounds. It's a great area that was made even better with the splash pad. It's our second splash pad in the town of Marana. It's a little bit different than the one up at Gladden Farms in North Marana. It has a number of jets and geysers. It has like canopy sails above it to give shade, as well as seating on the inside that keeps the parent or a grandparent who's watching the kids dry, but gives them close proximity where the kids are. It's about 2,400 square feet, and then after the splash pad closes at 7 p.m., there's a 2.5 hours of light show. It's the geysers are lit. There's a variety of colors. At the grand opening, several people spoke, including Jim Conroy, who's our Director of Parks and Recreation, Deputy Director D. Tyrell McGirt, and Vice Mayor John Post, along with his very adorable dog, who was along for a walk at the park. Splash pad is open 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. As we mentioned, the light show from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. With no access to the water at that time. It's just the show. But it's a lot of fun and a great way to cool off. Fall's coming, but as we all know in Marana, it doesn't really cool off for a few more months. So it's a great way to get out, cool off, have fun, and another way to enjoy what was already a great park.
You're right. And as we go deeper into the fall season, we have a very big event to look forward to. We have the Marana Farm Festival scheduled for Saturday, September 29th. It starts at 4, ends at 9 p.m. It's at our Heritage River Park farm, located off of Tangerine Road on Heritage River Park Drive, close to the Gladden Farms community. Beautiful park that features not only our original splash pad, but also a beautiful farm where people can have their own community gardens. So during this special time on Saturday from 4 to 9 p.m., you'll also get to enjoy some other aspects of Marana life. That includes rodeo and mutton busting, a great chance for us to see the University of Arizona Rodeo Club do some demonstrations on what they do. And then we have a great program where we have kids ages 3 to 5 who get to ride sheep. And our very popular mutton busting competition makes for a very entertaining show for parents and non-parents alike. And then, of course, we have live music, as we do at most of our signature events. We will have our very own Marana Community Music Theater group there to sing, as well as Chris Graber, who will be there later on in the evening. For those that are looking for other things they can do, we have pumpkin races. That's going to be brand new to the event, hosted by the Marana Foothills Optimist Club. It costs $10 to enter, and you'll be able to decorate a pumpkin, whether you bring your own or you buy one of their kits there for an additional fee, and see who has the fastest pumpkin. And then finally, an image that's become very, very consistent with what we bring to our farm festival is the carnival rides. This will be a great year for us as we bring the carnival rides back. Keep in mind, however, that these carnival rides will have a fee. It'll be $1 per ticket. So just come prepared, and we'll have ticket booths around the event. And we're ready to have a great time. And of course, as always, we have our food vendors.
Now, it's not coming up for a little bit, but on Sunday, October 14th, is the second annual Dirt Dash, which is our trail run. And you may be asking yourself, what's a trail run? And maybe not. Maybe you've run in it. Essentially, you take to the Marana Great Hiking Trails, but it's a race. It's a running race. Two distances, 4.6 kilometers and the 15.9 kilometer race. It's a great way to push yourself on the trails, the great vistas, the great scenery, the things that our normal hikes and even our horseback rides take in, but done at a faster pace where you can really push yourself. Now, why are we advertising it now? It's limited. Just 200 participants can participate in the Dirt Dash, but you'll want to get out there because not only do you get the great race? Do you get to push yourself physically? Do you get to see the beautiful trails? But custom participation medal with the great, wonderful donkey design. You also get electronic timing and race bibs for those who are competitive. Check out the website maranaaz.gov for more information. It is $40 if you register before October 8th, and then $50 after that. Again, it's Sunday, October 14th. It's the Dirt Dash, which is Marana's only, as of now, trail run.
I'd like to welcome Sergeant Chriswell Scott to the studio with us today. We'd like to talk with you a little bit about the Lock It or Lose It campaign that the Marana Police Department is doing right now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about what Lock It or Lose It means, especially for this community.
So in a nutshell, it's just a campaign, a safety campaign to remind our citizens to take certain precautions in their neighborhoods as far as locking car doors, making sure that we roll up the windows, making sure that we close our garage doors, and not leaving valuables inside of vehicles when the vehicles are unattended.
In many ways, it's just people almost get too comfortable. Their neighborhoods are safe, and they don't see a lot of things that you would think are bad, so they get lazy, they get careless, or they get complacent.
Absolutely. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? We live in a community that statistically has a very low crime rate. And on one hand, I'm very happy that residents feel that safe. But on the other hand, we have to remind ourselves that we can never become complacent. It's kind of interesting that a lot of the people that we arrest for, these type of offenses, as far as breaking into cars and entering garages, a lot of them don't even live in our community. So we're having folks that are coming from other parts of Metro Tucson to the Marana area. And I think probably a part of it is they know that some of the residents are probably a little complacent because we live in good neighborhoods with low crime rates, and they're preying on our residents at nighttime.
Lock It or Lose It applies to many things. We're looking at locking your car doors and parking lots, locking your garage doors, your front doors. We're getting ready to go into, pretty soon. It seems like it happens so fast, but we're going into a holiday season for the later part of this year. And what are some tips that we can tell our residents about keeping their items safe when they're going holiday shopping?
So one thing we definitely stress, especially as our residents are going from store to store and buying goods, is to remember to keep those goods out of sight in the vehicles. Don't leave gifts on the back seat. If at all possible, try to get them inside of the trunk of your car, or if you live close to home, get them inside of your house and secure them there. And just remember to lock your doors, that sort of thing.
When it comes to being safe at home, obviously we've discussed, lock your car door, lock your front door, lock your back door. But one thing maybe people should also think about, and they don't think about, is taking the garage door opener inside with them. I know you used to all clip it up there on the sun visor, but that is something that becomes a target.
Absolutely. And we've had several car break-ins where vehicles are left unlocked, and our suspects have taken off with garage door openers, which is really kind of a scary thing when you think about it, because the average person doesn't actually lock their interior door going from the garage into the inside of the house. So one thing that I recommend, not really putting any particular brand out there, is there's a lot of alternatives to the traditional car door garage door opener. There's a lot of openers now that can attach to a keychain or to your keys, that sort of thing, so it can go with you.
So looking at the ways that different homeowners or residents in general can be more proactive in keeping their things safe, a lot of homeowners now are looking into video cameras on their front porches, phone apps that can help keep an eye on a camera in their doorbell. How helpful are those things, and have those helped at all for police officers to kind of track down these people that are coming through our neighborhoods?
They absolutely have. We've used some of the video surveillance from some of these web-enabled devices to put vehicles in neighborhoods at a certain time. Kind of the great thing for us also is, the average person, they last see their vehicle, probably around 8, 9 o'clock at night, and it'll probably be 6 or 7 in the morning before they notice that something's gone. With these video video surveillance systems, we're able to pinpoint the exact time in which suspects are coming into the neighborhoods, and then we're able to adjust our police resources accordingly. The other thing is a lot of these web-enabled devices have the ability to export the video files very easily to the police department, so we're able to collect that video as evidence, and it's been helpful in prosecution.
Other than an unlocked car door, which is obviously the main thing they're looking for, is there anything these people are specifically targeting? Are they looking for car stereos? Are they looking for purses? Are they looking for openers? Or are they just looking for the first opportunity to grab something?
So we haven't actually seen a lot of stereos being stolen. What we're typically seeing is purses, wallets, debit cards that are sitting in cup holders, laptops, those sort of things, GPS units, Bluetooth headphones, and most of this stuff is just in plain sight. It's not hidden. We just remind everyone to stay vigilant.
It's funny, whenever we go out to the public and we promote Lock It or Lose It, one of the most common feedback that we receive is well, it shouldn't be obvious that you lock your car. And but the reality is people make mistakes all the time. We get stuck in a routine and we just forget to do something as simple as locking our door. Or as was said earlier, people just feel so safe in the Marana community that they figure it's a risk worth taking. Can you talk a little bit about the safety of Marana and what Marana PD does to keep our community safe?
Sure. So we have obviously our high visibility patrols. We have a fleet of patrol cars, black and whites, and now moving over to our silver vehicles. In addition to that, we have unmarked vehicles. We have specialty units that assist. We have neighborhood watches. We've got a whole lot of different things that we're doing to keep the neighborhood safe. And I always stress the biggest asset that we have is our residents. And so some of the best breaks in cases that we've had has been when a neighbor has called in and said, hey, I see something in the neighborhood that just doesn't look right. And so I always encourage folks, especially as you're driving into your neighborhood, you shouldn't be on your phone anyways, but be real observant of your surroundings. And if you see people in the neighborhood that you've never seen before, you see vehicles in the neighborhood that you've never seen before, and something just doesn't feel right, give us a call. We'd rather it be nothing than something. So,
and that was actually going to be my question. Where's the balance, and what do you tell people between crying wolf or over-reporting? Because I know so many people are worried about bothering the police and tying up resources, but at the same time, you need to be safe and you need to report things. So is it an unfamiliar face? Is it a repair truck that shouldn't be there at 11 o'clock at night?
What I kind of tell people is if you can articulate to a police dispatcher why something doesn't feel right, then go ahead and give us a call. We'll take the information that you have and we'll develop a strategy to best approach that person. Some of the things that we've seen, if you're coming home at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you see someone walking around the neighborhood with a backpack in any of the neighborhoods, that's not something you normally see. There are folks, that are out, exercising and that sort of thing, but you got to have to think about what is it the criminal is doing. They're gathering things, they're taking them, so they typically will have a backpack or something along those lines to store that, or vehicles that don't belong in the area. If you've been in your neighborhood for a little while and you've never seen this vehicle before in your entire life, just give us a call and we'll go check it out. And we're a well-staffed department. We've got a fairly low crime rate, and so police response times won't be an issue. If it's something, we can deal with it, and if it's nothing, we can clear it out very quickly, and it doesn't require a lot of paperwork on our end. So when in doubt, I'd say just give us a call.
And I know Chief Rosema has discussed that you guys look for patterns. So even though it might be something small, and I know a few years ago it was a couple missing items that might have had a value of $5, $6, but when you add up 10 of those, it points to something else. Mm-hmm. So I guess, what I'm trying to say is people shouldn't be afraid to report something missing, something stolen. Even if it seems minor, it might not be when you add it with other items that are similar or create a bigger picture.
Well, exactly. And when you look at strategies for fighting crime, if we don't know where the problems are at because citizens aren't letting us know or aren't reporting incidents, then we're not going to put our resources in the best places. So I would, say anytime there's anything missing or anytime that you have any suspicion of criminal activity, give us a call. That way we can get a report in and we can deploy our resources appropriately.
For those who are interested in learning more about Marana Police work or even just following Marana Police, what are some ways that our residents can kind of keep an eye on what you're doing?
Well, you can go to the town's website, maranaaz.gov. There's a link there for police, and it's got a whole slew of information there on basically crime prevention and citizens academies and that sort of thing. You can also follow us on Facebook at Marana Police Department. We're also on Twitter, Marana Police Department, and also on Instagram.
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today we're joined by Marana Town Clerk Jocelyn Bronson. Jocelyn is going to be the outgoing town clerk here very shortly. She only has a few weeks left. But she is someone who's seen the town grow, the town change, and we thought we'd pick her brain a little bit on what she has seen over the course of the years.
First and foremost, with only a few weeks left as a town employee, is this a time of joy or sadness for you?
I think it's a little bit of everything. There are times when I've been pretty anxious about the fact that I am leaving what has been my family and my home for 22 years. And then the other side of the coin is I'm looking forward to some new challenges, some new opportunities. So it's a little bittersweet because I'm going to miss the people that I've worked with for a number of years. But I'm also looking forward to new opportunities.
Now, one thing you mentioned, you've been here 22 years, and a lot has changed in those 22 years. From your perspective, what have you seen really that has changed in Marana, obviously other than the population?
When I started with the town in 1996, there were about just a little over 13,000 residents. We had probably about 127 employees at the time. We were just beginning to get what I would call a professional staff together. More and more people were applying for jobs with a lot of professional and academic qualifications. So I saw that change things dramatically for the town as we began growing and annexing more and more acreage into the town.
Right, because Marana was originally founded in 1977 by the residents and operated as a small municipality over water rights. Over time, as Marana started to build its own momentum and get larger, new talents and resources had to be brought in.
Things were changing, we were growing, and became a more viable place to be.
Yeah, and a lot of people, obviously one thing we do with this podcast is just try to give an insight into town government, how it works. A lot of people see on television, and it's very different than in actual practicality. So a lot of people may not know what a town clerk does, what your role is. Can you just explain a little bit what you do and what the role is of the town clerk within the town of Marana, at least?
The official duties of the town clerk are to manage the election process, to attend council meetings, prepare council agendas, make sure that all of the information that council needs to review to make policy is appropriate. And there are a number of us who work on that project, starting with the town manager and many of the other staff. As the town clerk, I kind of herd the cattle, if you will, to get those things done so that we get a good agenda out every time for our council members. I also manage a staff of 5 people. Well, there are 5 people, including me, an executive assistant. We have a records manager who became our deputy town clerk in 2015, and then we inherited a couple of people from other departments to do records permitting.
You work a lot with the public. What is your philosophy when working with people?
Customer service is a big thing with me, and I'm not sure that it has been or is with every municipal clerk, but I learned a lesson long ago that if you can leave your ego at the door and not defend yourself all the time, a lot of times you can diffuse volatile situations just by listening to people, and that really set me on a course of public participation, getting community engagement, getting out in the community with citizens, and that's what I like the best about my job. I love working with the people that I work with, but I really like the citizen engagement part of it. So I think most clerks today are engaging more and more in the public civic engagement. I don't know if they all are, but I know that's been a big function for me.
You've been very involved with the Citizens Forum, who've had a big impact on some of the decision making in the town. Talk about the formation of the forum and kind of the role they have, because a lot of people, again, don't necessarily know the role of the forum and how they present to council and really get some great ideas before council and staff.
Sure. The Actually, the genesis for the Citizens Forum probably started back in 2003 when I had attended a international clerks conference, and I heard people talking about getting citizens together to do different kinds of projects or just getting them educated more about their government, and I realized that we didn't have anything like that here. So in 2003, with the approval of the council and the town manager, I started a program called CREW, which is an acronym for Citizen Resource and Education Resources. And that program lasted through about the beginning of probably 2006, 2007, when the recession started. And it was basically an educational program to invite people in the community to come and listen to the mayor, talk to the mayor, learn a little bit about the community. We were doing tours around the community. It was kind of a fun thing that we did once a year. And then with the recession, we just didn't have the resources with the personnel and financially to continue that. So when the recession was over with, we started something that was a little bit different called the Community Connections. And we tried to attract people through more media because we knew that people were working. They didn't have an opportunity to come to town hall and sit for an hour and a half and listen, but maybe if we could do something a little bit different.
With the new program, you were able to break the segments out into more manageable timelines instead of a huge chunk of time dedicated to learning about the community.
That project was a little bit challenging for us because we were still trying to revive ourselves from the recession. It only lasted about a year and a half. Then we developed I think we had 5 or 7 citizen commissions, which we did that for about 2 years, and we had a staff liaison to each one of those commissions. It turned out to be a little staff heavy. So we're trying to think of a way, and it wasn't really attending to issues that were widespread in the community. They tend to be developed more around individual or specific issues that people had. So at that time, Gilbert Davidson was our town manager, and he had been a big proponent of the Arizona Town Hall formula, and actually had been on the board with Arizona Town Hall. And he brainstormed with a number of staff people, myself included, to come up with a new formula. And that formula ended up being modeled after the Arizona Town Hall, which we call the Marana Citizens Forum.
The Marana Citizens Forum marked a change in citizen engagement that transitioned away from the commissions. The new format ended up serving as a great example for other municipalities wanting to do the same thing.
The Citizens Forum has probably been our most successful venture aside from the Volunteers and Police Service and the Explore program. In terms of getting the community engaged in what's going on around here, we meet now twice a year, fall and spring of each year. The forum delegates, which we have anywhere from 20 to 30 people at each meeting, talk about, they deliberate on issues that are of widespread interest, and those issues are approved by council, but the forum gets to decide which of the topics the council approves, what they want to deal with. So we've had 12, I think we're coming up on 13 issues that the forum has deliberated on. At the end of each session, one of the delegates makes a presentation to the council about their recommendations, and I think we have been very successful in having almost all of their recommendations implemented. If we haven't, we've been able to implement parts of them. Some we're still working on, such as the zip code issue. But in the long run, our Citizens Forum has been extremely beneficial to the community, and I think that I've truly enjoyed working with them. And my partner in crime for this, Heath Vescovi, has also helped me facilitate these programs over the last few years. So I'm going to really miss that program, but I think that's been one of the most instrumental programs that we've implemented.
That's just a great way for people to get involved if they're not sure how to get involved. They're obviously big picture. You could always run for council, or you could try to be on one of the commissions, but this is a good way to get your feet wet, learn about things in the town, and make a difference.
Absolutely. I think that you really captured it in a nutshell.
Well, I can tell you that I dealt with you before I got to the town. Now I get to, I think actually I may deal with you actually less on a daily basis than I did when I worked for the newspaper. But I can tell you, I'm going to miss you. We're going to miss you. The town's going to miss you. But we appreciate you coming on here. And as life gives you more great adventures, maybe we'll bring you back in to recap and see what else you discover out there. We really appreciate you coming on today.
I don't intend to be a stranger. I may sign up for the forum myself and surprise everyone.
If you're interested in the forum or a lot of the other things that falls under Jocelyn's umbrellas, elections, even council agendas. You can all find those on the town website, maranaaz.gov. So find out what's going on at a meeting, what's going on at the next council meeting, what's going on with the elections, how to vote, where to vote, all that kind of thing can be found, and that's all taken care of by the town clerk's office. Thanks again for coming in. Laura Corlew, in addition to being Marana's tourism and marketing manager, is also heads up the Marana Film Office. We spoke to Laura to find out more about the rich history of filmmaking in Marana and the future of productions within the town. Many people may not be aware, but Marana actually has a rich movie tradition and film tradition. Can you just kind of walk people through some of the films and television that have been produced and made in part in Marana?
We have a very rich history of filming, probably starting with, and maybe even going back further than the 1939 film that everyone here is aware of, the film Arizona. One of the opening scenes was filmed right in Marana on what is now the Lazy K Bar Ranch. And since then, we've been the locations for many feature films, largely classic cowboy westerns that need beautiful scenery, and all the way up to the present with George Clooney's film Confessions of a Dangerous Mind that was released in 2002. It was his directorial debut film. We've had many, many TV shows, so many that it's hard to list them all in this short format, but we've had recently reality TV shows, music videos, and plenty of TV commercials as well.
You know, for those of us living in Marana, we all know that we have gorgeous scenery all around us. How did filmmakers take advantage of our great desert sceneries and vistas, whether it's for a Western period piece or a modern production?
The Tucson Mountains that are the tail end of the range that includes Saguaro National Park West happens to be on the Marana side, just one of the most gorgeous vistas that any cinematographer could ever hope to find. The scale of the mountains is perfect for certain kinds of shots where you can have people in the foreground and have the entirety of the mountain peaks in the background. So that's probably why our area was selected again and again and again for all kinds of filming.
While film and television have never stopped coming to Marana in southern Arizona, recent efforts have been undertaken by you and others to crank it up again, maybe to levels that we haven't seen in decades, when Arizona was a hotbed, one of the best places outside of LA to film. Just talk about what you've done with Discover Marana and with the other efforts to bring more movies and television to the region and specifically to Marana.
About a year ago, I initiated forming a Marana Film Office here at the town of Marana because we have always had filming projects. Many of them use the Marana Regional Airport because it's another perfect location for certain kinds of filming, such as car commercials and other things that need vintage aircraft, which we have, and again, the beautiful mountains framing it. So we've had quite a lot of filming going on without doing anything, and we really needed to have a centralized point person and permit process. So those were initially reasons to start a film office, and then also, the state of Arizona decided to reinstate its state film office to market Arizona as a location for filming projects. So we now have all kinds of help and resources that we didn't have just a couple of years ago. And so together, we can all really work. I work very closely with the Tucson Film Office, and they have been the major force for keeping filming here over all of the decades that their office has been extremely active. And so we're really lucky to have these excellent partners. We're also incredibly lucky that because of the rich legacy of filming here, we already have so many professionals who are working oftentimes in LA or even New Mexico and are based in Tucson, and they're just ready for work here. So we really want to support our local economy and our residents who have very specialized skills and training and really bring it back.
So Laura, you recently participated in the filming of a promotional video that took advantage of the skills of many of these Marana-based professionals. How did that video come to be, and what are the goals of the video?
Our state film commissioner, Matthew Earl Jones, sent out an email request to each of the film office representatives in the state of Arizona. And there are maybe around 10 of us who are liaisons for filming. And so I received this email, and it simply said, we need a 12-second promotional video of each of our film office representatives inviting people to come and film in their respective areas, and we need it 2 weeks from today. So I thought about it for a while on the way home from work, basically, and came back the next day and decided we really needed to do something that was of the same quality and ambition as the kinds of filming that has occurred in the past in Marana and that is still going on here. And I really wanted to illustrate the spectacular locations that we have, and came up with the idea that we would have 3 settings that were particularly amazing, although we have many more than that, but we would pick 3 and sort of create a little story at each location as if there was a project going on, and then have drones that filmed the production crew and cast making their project. And so I hired a local production firm that turned out to be local to Marana, and within the 2 weeks we had a cast and crew of about 60 people and did a full-scale production. And it turned out beyond any of our expectations because everyone jumped in to help. We have amazing talent, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can see that on the screen in this little promo video that started off as a simple 12-second promo.
And I know the video is posted online. Tell people where they can see it, because it really is very cool, whether it be the shot of the vistas, the shot of the, I guess you call it the cowgirl coming to the rescue, or my personal favorite, because it looks like something from a big budget Hollywood film, the scene at the Marana Regional Airport.
Right. The regional airport scene was made possible because our airport director, Steve Miller, has always supported filming out there at Marana Regional Airport, and he has great working relationships with Volare Helicopters, with the airplane restoration company that happened to have this beautiful working A4 fighter plane from the Vietnam era that was just perfect for taxiing down the runway. We then brought in Crown Concepts that happens to also be based in Marana that restores vintage cars. They provided us with 2 beautiful Cobras. And so we were able to put together this scene along with ArcLight Pictures' own special skill set that is very rare here, where Bobby Francis, one of the co-owners of ArcLight Pictures, is a compositor, and he was able to composite our helicopter into the same shot as the jet plane. So they weren't originally filmed together. They were filmed separately at the airport, but then he could put them into the same shot. And it's things like that that make the difference between a pretty average scene and then something spectacular that makes you think you're watching a feature film with a $250 million budget. So that's the kind of scene we got, but using all of our own local folks and professionals, and it really shows you what we've got here. We can pull that off, and it's not just a one-off. This is what many of these people do every single day. So they are definitely, as our tagline in the video promo says, we're ready. We are definitely ready, and we could do this in 2 weeks. We could do it again in 2 weeks if we had to. The other program that Discover Marana has going on is we are the gastronomy tours, the Marana gastronomy tours. We have 2 different versions of a gastronomy tour. One is a 5.5-hour tour, and it ends at the Ritz. We also visit 2 archaeology sites, and we also taste locally made craft beer along with wild crafted Sonoran desert wild foods. The other version of the tour is a bit shorter. It's about 3.5 hours, and we take a walk at the Wildboro Wash that's right by the Ritz-Carlton at Dove Mountain, and we learn about the wild foods there and some of the history of their uses, what the flavors are, how you might want to harvest them if you are so inclined, and then we go and taste them at Catalina Brewing Company afterwards. So we will be going into our 2nd year of these tours, and they should run from October through April. The dates are almost ready to be announced. I'll be posting them on our website and putting them into the Discover Marana e-newsletter.
Gastronomy tours are starting pretty soon, so how can somebody sign up for one?
You can go to discovermarana.org for more information and for links to make your reservations, or you can go directly to Gray Line Tours Arizona. Gray Line Tours is our local tour partner for transportation. They provide a wonderful air-conditioned van. It's a delightful afternoon. It departs from the Tucson Premium Outlets, and people can make their reservations through Gray Line directly.
And that's a big thing. Whether you want to check out the video, whether you want to learn more about the Marana Film Office, whether you want to learn more about the culinary tours, or you just want to learn more about great things, not only in Marana, but the region, the Discover Marana website, such a great resource, beautiful looking as well. Tell people how they can find this information, sign up for the newsletter, and just become more informed about the happenings in Marana.
People can sign up for the monthly e-newsletter on discovermarana.org. That's an easy process. You can just click on e-news and add your email address. You won't get any spam, I promise. We email about once a month. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, by all means, you can check out the Discover Marana Facebook page. We post all kinds of news, current events, everything that's going on. The Discover Marana website also has an events calendar that's pretty comprehensive. We try to cover everything going on in our area, as well as things of interest to people who would want to go a little bit further as well to a major event or one of our major attractions. So definitely keep in touch, and then you'll know exactly what's going on, and you may even hear about some new movie filming projects or TV filming or who knows what.
Laura, we really appreciate you coming on and discussing all these exciting things. And as more adventures happen in Marana, I'm sure we'll have you back on.
Thanks so much for featuring me today, Brad. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Marana Town Talk. We'd love to hear from you. Have questions, feedback, or show suggestions? Let us know at maranaaz.gov/newsroom or email us at communications@maranaaz.gov.
We'll return each month with interesting features on the community. Until next time, follow the Town of Marana on Facebook or Twitter. For Brad Allis, I'm Vic Hathaway.